It's 100% Canucks. John Shannon, Landon Ferraro. Landon, the team is home after let's face it, a less than perfect road trip, a one that occurred without a victory, which is uh, obviously disappointing. And the team's direction now seems to be in question, whether this is Jimmy's calling it a hybrid retooling. But we're going to have to see what happens. And now, I don't know if you noticed, but the New York Rangers today announced that they're doing a retooling as well. So it'll be fascinating to see how that affects what's going on in Vancouver as teams get closer to deciding who and what they're going to move before the Olympic break and at the trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean this year is so different, right? With the condensed
Yeah.
schedule and the Olympic freeze and all of that. But because of it, also like it's kept everything so log jammed to where over the past, generally like the start of December, but definitely once you hit the new year, you have a pretty clear line in the league of okay, these teams are out of it already. Now we can start kind of focusing on them to see what players we can go after that. But this year, there's so many teams that are still right there. You're basically one winning streak away from being right in touch with a wild card spot. So it's held so many of these conversations. But for the Canucks, I mean, you knew it before this trip, but this trip really kind of put everything in. You had Alvin and Rutherford both coming out and really saying that, like this is a rebuild now. But with some of the pieces that we have and some of the young players and the assets that we can move, we don't feel that this is a 5 or 6 year rebuild. We think this is a 2 or 3 year.
Hmm.
And that's where they've got to execute on their moves extremely well. And then on top of it, they've got to use those, whether they're getting the young player back or they're getting a draft pick, they got to make sure they hit on those draft picks to make that shorter year guess be the right one.
A bigger challenge than never nobody ever admits is yeah, we can get draft picks, but the draft picks have to become hockey players, and there's no guarantee that's going to happen, and that's truly a challenge, which makes the Quinn Hughes trade for three actual hockey players and a draft pick um, so much more important for what the Canucks are trying to do. When you
It
could
is,
look at Rossi do his job when he's healthy, Ogren, who I think has been a pleasant surprise for a lot of people, and
yep.
Zeev Buium, who everybody talked about the day of the trade as the linchpin to the trade from a Vancouver perspective. I mean, he's become exactly what they want him to be, I would presume, but it's a work in progress still because he's only 20 years old.
Yep. And like that is in a lot of ways a safer way to go about making those trades is trading for young guys already in the league. You have a way better understanding of what you're getting. It doesn't matter that you get a top 10 pick. If you pick the wrong guy, it doesn't matter if it's one or 200th overall, if that guy ends up being the better player, right? So, like Detroit was known for a long time of being a really good drafting team. Well, in 2009, they took me at 32nd with their first pick, and Ryan O'Reilly was 33rd, right? Like it's easy to think you're making the right choice, and it turns out the other way. So, it's important, but bringing in Buium and Rossi and Ogren is a great start. And you know, Buium of the three has the highest potential of the group.
Hmm.
We see his natural ability. To me, I think strength is going to be the thing that unlocks really the next part of his offensive game for the most part. He makes those tight cutbacks like a Quinn Hughes we're so used to seeing. But when Buyo makes those cuts right now, sometimes that first push out of it, he just doesn't separate himself far enough. Like he's a beautiful skater. He's just turned 20. He's still young.
Hmm.
He's gonna get stronger. Within, probably by the time he comes back for training camp next year, he's gonna make that tight turn, open up his hips, and he's going to make that first push and he's going to separate himself 4.5 feet. Like that's going to unlock so much more to his game, but you can see where all those pieces are.
Well, he is the topic du jour for us today on the podcast. Zeev Buium will join Landon and me right after this on 100% Canucks.
I won't keep you long. Darren Millard with a tip for everyone who loves great hockey podcasts like this one. John Shannon and I host the OG of 100% Hockey, coming your way multiple times a week. The guest list is the best you will find. Multiple shows a week ensures you won't miss out on any news, and we dig even deeper into the biggest stories around the NHL. Most of our guests are also friends, so I promise there'll be more conversation beyond the X's and the O's. John really does get bored with that after a while. So join us for 100% Hockey. The name says it all. Subscribe now while you enjoy thinking about it, and enjoy.
Welcome back to 100% Canucks. Landon and John, joined by Zeev Buium. Did I pronounce that right, Zeev?
Yes, you did.
Because how many? And now there's a good question to start with. How many different ways has your last name been pronounced since you became a hockey player?
Oh man, a lot. It was probably more with my brothers just because they're older than me. So we got like Boom, Bowie. There was a lot. So yeah, it's funny. Everyone always asks how to pronounce it, but everyone does pretty well usually.
Well, I was wrong. I was bad the first couple of days, and then somebody gave me a trick. There's always a trick, right, on how to pronounce
Oh
things.
yeah.
So now that I understand the trick, it's pretty easy. What finally back in Vancouver after another long trip? Have you had a chance to feel now that you're a Canuck?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's definitely settled in, a lot more now and kind of get back to the normal and in the routine of things. So the transition was easy and the guys were great. So I think that makes it a lot easier. So yeah, it's been smooth.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up, I saw your interview after you got traded and talking about the guys in Minnesota and how good of a group that is. I was around them a little bit and like Foligno and those guys, they're really good guys to be
Yeah.
around. Now that you've been here a little bit, like have you found, there's a lot of young guys here. I imagine as much as, the results on ice haven't been what you guys would want, is it a fun group to be with like a bunch of guys your age?
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah, I mean, I think in mini it was different. Obviously, I was so much younger than everybody else, and no one was really my age. I think here you got, Willander, who we've become pretty close over the time I've been here, and a lot of the other younger guys. So it's different. It's nice to have more younger guys. In mini there wasn't, like I just said, there wasn't many of us. So, are with the older guys a lot. They all have families and kids, so you're not hanging out with them all the time away from the rink. But, it's nice to kind of have younger guys who we're all in the same kind of situation and can kind of talk through things. We're going through the same things together. So, yeah, it's a really nice gel of older guys and veteran guys and younger guys.
What's the big challenge of coming from an American city to a Canadian city?
To be honest, like nothing really. I mean, I think obviously like the little things like the grocery stores, even like just the Wi-Fi, like everything's different obviously, but I mean it's pretty easy adjusting to. I don't think there's anything that's been too crazy.
Have you been able to get out in Vancouver at all, or have you not even had a chance yet with your guys' schedule?
Yeah, I haven't really been able to see much. Hopefully, over this next stretch of however many days we're here, I'll be able to kind of to see a little bit more. But I mean, I've been to a couple dinners. I've been around a little bit, so I've seen a little bit, but I know there's a lot that I haven't seen yet.
And make sure to get outside for the next few days. Like, there's the sun out behind you right now. It's supposed
It's
to be here for a
nice.
couple days. You got to make the most of it.
It's nice to see the sun. That's for sure.
So you were born in San Diego. Do you view yourself as a California hockey player?
100%. Yeah, 100%.
And so
Yeah.
you're now, and I'm going to get this right because you're American, so I have to call it youth hockey, not minor hockey. Your youth hockey, where did it begin, and What do you remember most about playing there?
Yeah, it all started San Diego Ice Arena. It was, one rink, 5, 10 minutes from my house in San Diego. My cousin, who's a little bit older than my brothers and I, would play and, just for fun. And Shy, my brother right now who plays at Grand Rapids, loved to watch him play. Begged my parents to let him play. They finally said yes. He got into it. My oldest brother Ben got into it, and then I started playing. And I just remember it being super fun. Like it wasn't like a club team or it wasn't a travel team. It was just club, so you just play in house, and there was always ice, so you could just skate with any group. Like I was skating with guys 5, 10 years older than me, just to skate with them, and nothing was that serious. It was a lot of fun. We'd have like barbecues in the backyard on Fridays at the rink. So it was just a lot of fun. I think that's where we learned to kind of love the game and just really enjoy it. And my parents never forced us to go skate. It was always us wanting to go and dragging them to the rink. So yeah, I mean, I think that was a nice part is when you play there, especially where we started, it was just you're only playing because you love it. There was nothing serious about it. It wasn't about making the NHL or going to college or the next level. It was all just about having fun, and the better we got, the more serious we took it.
How and why have you become such a great skater?
Oh man, I don't know.
Because that is, I would think you would probably view that as your strength, correct?
For sure, yeah, I would definitely say skating. It's probably my biggest strength. Yeah, I don't know. I think, I think naturally I was always a little bit of a better skater. But I did work on it a lot. I actually spent a summer in Minnesota when I was like 13, 14, working with a skating coach and with my brother, and she helped us out a ton. And, it definitely changed my skating a lot for sure. And I think every summer I always try to get with a skating coach. And even if I'm not with them, personally, it's just, maybe sending them videos, seeing what they think, seeing, what I can do better. And, I feel like I've also been pretty good at, watching, guys like even like Quinn or, just guys who skate super well, like Renski, watching, playing him last night, you see the way he skates and trying to pick things up from them, even just by the way they skate and seeing how they move their body. And I feel like I've always been pretty good at kind of adjusting to that and trying to add it in.
You know, so you're growing up in California and then you end up going to Shattuck. Like how did that come to be? How did you make that decision? Because I
Yeah.
remember having that conversation with my parents. I talked about going and you're young when you're having that conversation. How did that go?
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I have two older brothers. So my oldest brother Ben, who's actually a really, really, really good hockey player. Probably the best out of the three of us for a long time. And I think when he was a freshman or sophomore in high school, Ben Umhafer from Shattuck St. Mary's had like, seen him in a tournament and ended up talking to my mom and was like, this school is um, it'd be great for your boy. Blah blah blah. They ended up talking about it. And my mom was like, "You nuts? Like, I'm not sending my kids to a boarding school in Minnesota." 'Cause my parents obviously know nothing about hockey, so that was kind of step one. And Shy, my middle brother, he was like the hockey nerd, kind of knew everything, knew that Crosby had gone to Shattuck, knew all this stuff about it, and that was always somewhere he knew that he kind of wanted to go. And so Ben, after lots of talks with my parents, obviously, lot of back and forth of no, yes, no, yes. They ended up sending him, and then Ben Umhafer was like, hey, I actually really like Shy too. Like he should come as well. And then my older brother Ben actually ended up leaving after just a couple months. It wasn't for him, but Shy ended up staying. Obviously, was probably the biggest thing that ever happened to him. And then me being the little brother, like I said, you kind of just tag along, and I wanted to be just as good as them, if not better. So I kind of knew that they kind of paved the path for me, and I was really excited to get there, and it was really hard going at I think I was 13 when I left home, so it was hard. It was a lot of stuff. You're dealing with, I think, mentally and emotionally away from the rink as a 13-year-old and then doing it by yourself. So it was nice to have my brother there for sure. But I think, like I said, it was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me and him.
What makes it so special?
I always say, like, for me personally, I think when you're that young, when you have a problem with someone or your coaches or whatever it is, you always have your parents to deal with it, or somebody, an adult to deal with. If you have a problem with your teammate, you have to see your teammate in the dorm that day, that night. So, you have to kind of face your fears head on and deal with your problems, and you have to learn how to deal with them at a young age. And it's the same thing with your coach. It's like, if you're not happy with your ice time or where you're playing or whatever it is, you have to be the one to go to your coach and ask him about it, and kind of vouch for yourself. And you don't have anyone to kind of do that for you. So I thought that was the biggest thing for me. Was even my first year at Shattuck, I struggled a lot. I was very undersized, and I was really mad because I wasn't playing much, and I was like, "What do I need to do?" And they gave me a list of things that I needed to do better, and I went home that summer and I worked on all of it.
So you end up at Denver after that, and I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say from the moment you stepped on Denver's campus till now, like I don't even know if you've had a chance to catch your breath if you look over what's happened in that time, but you win a national championship there, you win two World Juniors in that time. Like, clearly it was a very big part of your career to this point. What were, going into Denver, what were your expectations? And now looking back at it, what did it surpass that? What did you grab out of that that really makes you, the player you are right now?
Yeah, I mean, I would say Denver's probably a second home for me. I love that place with all my heart. I mean, I have nothing but the utmost respect for David Carl, their coaching staff, just everybody that's a part of that program, and they did so much for me without even, really, like, it's not like they gave me this golden treatment or did anything that crazy. It's just the fact that it's just the way that they changed my, perspective on the game and myself and my work ethic and everything. And it was such an amazing, and the culture there too, the guys you meet, it's like you can't, like, there's one rule, and it's like there's no assholes. That's what we say. You leave your ego at the door, and there's no asshole. So I remember, I mean, my brother and I, Shy was getting recruited and he was 16. I was 13 at the time. It was my first year at Shattuck, and they were recruiting him, and I went on the visit with him, and I remember being ready to jump up and commit before he was. And they weren't obviously talking to me or anything, but I just loved the school so much. I loved everything they were about, and so I knew from the second I was at NTDP that I could commit. That was, it was the only school I talked to the day I could commit. I called them and I was like, I'm in. So it was just it was such a big moment in my life, not just as a hockey player, but just as a person. I changed so much. I grew so much. Um, like I said, that the people I met at that on that team, will be friends for life, and it was really special. There was a lot of good. We did go through adversity. There was things you had to deal with, but I'm just so grateful for everything they did for me, and especially David Carl. I mean, I think he's one of a kind. I think he's someone that if you get the opportunity to be coached by him, if you get the opportunity to meet him, he's one of those people in your life that, for me personally, I'll be connected to forever.
Of course, you had David Carl at the World Juniors as well. That
Yes, yeah,
memory serves me. You won both of those tournaments as well, didn't you? You did.
we did.
You've done okay being with David Carl. What makes him so special? I'm actually surprised he's not in the NHL, but he's made a long-term commitment to the university.
I was about
Yeah,
to
I
say, I
mean,
feel like it's been his decision that he's not in the NHL. Like
Right.
he
yeah.
Oh
loved his
yeah. Oh yeah.
situation.
He loves
Yeah.
it there. And I don't blame him. Like, he's so, I think people forget how young he is. He's like 35, 36 years old. He's got a couple kids, very, very young, and Denver just did so much for him too. I mean, I don't know if you guys know his story of his heart and
Yep. Sure.
kind of what happened, but Denver did a lot for him, and I think for him he wants to pay that back, and he's definitely been doing that. So I think just the way he is, his calm demeanor, he never loses his head or snaps on guys. It's not like he's going to yell at you, but if he gets mad at you, he'll make sure you feel it. And it's in a different way, but he'll make sure you feel it. So there's just a lot of good. I think he understands what it's like to be a college student. He understands what it's like, to be a player and all the things that come with it. And I think that's the biggest thing. He just gets it. And I think, there's a lot of coaches out there that, do too, but I think he's someone that he treats everyone the same. Everyone's equal. He doesn't, treat you like he's above you. He's going to tell you the things you need to work on. He's going to tell you the things you need to get better at. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. He's a special person and just a really, really good coach. And, it's not just me saying that, obviously, I played a lot there, so it could be easy for me to say that, but you ask the guys who are on our fourth line or guys who didn't play, they would say the same thing about him. Everyone loved him. So, yeah, he's one of a kind for sure.
Is there one aspect of your game that he had more influence on than anything else? Something that he brought to light for you that changed a little bit of the way you play the game?
My defensive game for sure. I think he kind of just made me understand it. I think I was at that time coming into Denver my freshman year. I was very much just about offense and wanting to play offense and just get in the ozone, and that's the main thing I cared about. And I always wanted, I wanted to be out there less minutes, defensively as well, but I just didn't understand, that part of it that well. And he just sat me down before the year started my freshman year, and he made it sound so simple to me that it was like, oh well, that makes so much sense. I don't know why I don't just do that. And so, it was kind of things like if you defend for 10 seconds harder, you get the puck, you get to play offense, right? So it's like the way he made me think I would overhandle the puck in my own zone a lot, at NCDP and going to my freshman year at Denver. He's like, just get it north, and once you get in the ozone, do your thing. So it was really nice. He simplified everything for everyone. He made it sound easy, and it was never like you were confused, or it was never complicated. It was, if you couldn't do it, it was going to be because of your own issues. He definitely, made it simple and, easy to kind of go with it.
By the way, if you liked offense so much, why weren't you a forward?
I was a forward, actually.
And
Yeah,
Why'd you switch?
I played center up until probably my first year at Shattuck. My first year at Shattuck was like my first full year at defense, I think. But I was always a center. I played center like my whole life. Played D
Was
too.
that your decision or theirs suggesting it?
I think by the end of that year before I got to Shattuck, I was playing both. So it just depended on the game, I guess, is what I would play. And like I would be playing D, and then I'd go take a D zone face off or something. So it was
That's
like
awesome.
it was funny, but I mean I was always forward. Like when I played roller hockey down in California, like I'd always play forward. I never played D. And then both my brothers were D, and I think my coach in California was kind of like, I think you would be better off as a D. And that's when I started to play it more. And then I don't know if he was just chirping my offensive ability or not, but you're not going to score enough goals. But yeah, I mean, I think obviously that was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. And going to Shattuck, I struggled a lot my first year, and then kind of got the hang of it my 15s year.
Back to Vancouver now, and again, the season, like it's a tough year. The team's starting to transition and all of that. What is the focus for you personally, kind of through the rest of the season? Is it like, how do you go into games? Are you're obviously going in to win and do everything you can, but is it almost like each game you're trying to focus on a different part to, get better and improve at, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I think my whole life I think why I love hockey so much in general, or just any sport, is you go in to win, right? If you're playing one-on-one basketball with somebody, you're trying to win. So for me, that's always been my mindset, is every game is going in to win that game. And it's definitely been hard, and there's been frustration, and It's tough. Everyone hates losing. Everybody wants to win. Everyone's a competitor, especially if you're playing in the NHL. You got here, probably because you're a competitive person and you want to win, and that's why you've gotten better and gotten good enough to play in the NHL. And yeah, but I think, I've said this before, but it's like I feel like every game, especially this year, every game, every practice, it's an opportunity to get better. And if you have a bad game, tomorrow, you have the next game to play even better. And it's like you kind of every day there's so many games. That's what I like is there's so many games. Like in college, you don't play that many games. You have a bad weekend in college, now you got to sit on that for 4 days until the next
Yeah.
weekend. So I think
How's your
here it's
body
like
holding up with the extra games, though?
it's good. It's actually
Yeah.
I think yeah, I feel good. I mean, I don't know if part of that's just being young or not, but yeah, I feel good. I mean, I think also like that, like learning how to take care of yourself, take care of your body, do the things you have to do every day and stay on top of it, or else you're not going to feel good going into those games. So it's definitely been a learning curve. There's been lots of ups and downs, but yeah, I mean, it's just exciting to be here and be playing in the NHL and just trying to get better every day and become the player that I want to be. And you want that to happen as soon as possible.
Do
So
you
when you
think you?
don't,
Oh, sorry.
when you don't get, um, when you don't dress in Montreal, how do you manage that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was hard. Like I said, as a competitive person, you never want to miss a game. You never want to be in that position. It's a bad feeling to have, and definitely not something you're ever happy about. But I think for me, it was just to move on, look forward, and kind of have more of a chip on my shoulder, I guess, a little bit now. And um, I think that's kind of what I've had the whole year is just trying to find ways to get better and stay more consistent and not make those mistakes and turnovers or whatever it is, and spend extra time in the gym, trying to build your body because of how many games we play. So that limited time that you can work out after a game or on an off day or on a practice day or whatever it is, taking advantage of that. And yeah, but I mean it's frustrating. You never want to get scratched. It's a terrible feeling. Um, it's not something I ever want to be involved in. And but I understand that I wasn't at my best, and that's on me. So I need to be better, and I'm gonna do my best to do that.
So you're obviously not happy about that, and you deal with it. But the important question I got too is, did you at least have some of the hot dogs in Montreal? Did you get to try one of those?
I had one. I had
There
two
you go.
actually.
How
Yeah,
good are those?
they were good. They were unreal. I've heard
Oh,
I've heard a lot about them too, so I gotta try it. They had a massive box of them. I was like, I need to try at least one.
so that massive box, just a quick little story. When I was with Detroit, I got hurt, and it was right before I was coming back, so I was traveling with the team, and me and Thomas Yurko weren't playing. So we do our workout, and before you know it, we have a hot dog, and then you have another one. Before we knew it, we ate like the
Yeah.
majority of the hot dogs. We had to find the trainers to run up, go get more, because if all the guys came back, and we were rookies, and all the hot dogs were gone, that would not have
Oh,
been
bad
good.
news.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
that's good. That's funny.
So
So
okay, hold on. We're on the hot dog theme right now.
yeah,
Do you put ketchup on your hot dog?
Oh yeah.
ketchup
Uh,
mustard.
No, I don't do
not cat. You,
mustard. I'm
you
not the
don't do
biggest
cat.
mustard
You don't
guy.
do ketchup on a hot dog.
Ketchup,
Really?
mustard,
I feel like
onions.
Oh,
ketchup's like
that's
a
I tell you what.
staple on a hot dog.
That's you don't put ketchup on a hot dog. Yeah,
I feel like that's a staple.
mustard and relish. Come on now.
Get out of here.
Don't you see
Let's
like the
get.
hot dogs, like they have like the ads and it's got like the ketchup engraved in it?
Yeah,
No,
Hot dog?
no,
it's
that
right. It's a
doesn't.
staple.
That's just commercial endorsement. They're just getting you to buy hot dogs and ketchup. You don't have to do it. You don't have
John,
to
the
follow
ketchup,
them,
I think it's
Zeev.
just more like, me and Zeev are the young guys, right? I'm in his
Oh yeah.
group. I'm the young
Thank,
guys. So we like
thanks
the
for
ketchup,
reminding
we
me.
don't.
Thanks for
Yeah.
reminding me that I'm not the young guy.
And I'm just grouping myself in with someone that's half my age.
Well,
Perfect.
so no, those are important questions because I mean, people are going to judge you for the rest of your life. if you put ketchup on your hot dog. I mean, seriously, we might have to have an intervention of some sort.
Hey, it's all right.
And it kind of
Cool.
leads into
They
my
like.
next question, I guess, too, because I was going to ask you, because I am curious. You're in your first full year of pro hockey. Do you think you've learned more on the ice or off the ice?
I mean, definitely off the ice, I think. I mean, obviously you learn every day on the ice, just going through the games and just different situations. Every game you learn something new. Like that's what I've realized too is like every game I play, there's a new situation that happens, there's a new thing that develops that maybe I hadn't been in that situation before and now you're playing in it and but I think that's the cool part and I think the cool part too is like you get to play in every building for the first time and
Yeah, that would
experience
be
everything
cool.
for the first time. Yeah, it's
That would
exciting.
be
Like
really cool. Yeah.
you go play an MSG for the first time, right? And then didn't get to play in Montreal, but at least be in the building for that first time. And you hear all these things about these places, and it's just so you can feel the excitement and the adrenaline rush for sure. So that's really cool. But I think there's definitely a lot of things off the ice that you learn, just how to be a pro and how to take care of your body, how to use your free time. I was a guy definitely in college where I'd be sleeping in till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock on an off day. And it's like now I remember doing that earlier in the year and I feel so terrible going in the next day for a game. I'm like, I gotta stop doing that. So just forcing yourself to get up a little bit earlier than you want to and getting outside, moving your body around and just taking care of yourself.
Okay, so like that's a good point. So you guys came out of Columbus last night. What would today be like on a beautiful day in Vancouver?
Yeah, I mean, I know some guys went and got treatment. I think for me, like I got up, I don't know, maybe 9 o'clock, 9:30. But that was just because I couldn't sleep. I would have slept probably a little bit more if I could have. But uh, but just get up, make breakfast, get some fresh air. Some guys probably go to the rink in a little bit. Do some recovery stuff there. But just get up and moving. Like I think that's the biggest thing. I think also when you're in a stretch like this where you're not winning, it's easy to kind of think about everything and overanalyze and overthink about every little thing. And I've always been big on getting away from the game when you can. And I always think that's important. I think we're around it so much already. We watch it all day on the TV. We do everything around it. So I think for me, it's important to just do things that get my mind off of it, whatever that is. If it's
Like
Xbox,
what? Like what? What would like are you a bike rider or do you how what do you what how do you manage this all the downtime?
yeah, I mean, just kind of doing like I'll do anything. If someone wants to go to the mall, I'll go to the mall. If they want to go for a walk, I'll go for a walk. If we want to go hang out in a coffee shop, I'll go do that. It's kind of anything. I got an Xbox that I'll play sometimes. I like to FaceTime my buddies that I haven't talked to in a little bit, maybe. Just kind of think about anything else beside hockey. I love watching hockey. I love watching games and that kind of something that I just enjoy doing. But I do think it's very important to just kind of take a step back and breathe, relax a little bit, and not think so much into everything, and just take a step away for a second.
Who's your best friend in the game?
Oh man, like in the NHL?
Well, I mean, somebody that has had a similar path to you that whether it's somebody you met at the development program because heck, I was looking
Yeah,
at that list of guys that you played with at the development program. Whether it's Ike Howard, who's going to be in town tomorrow, Logan Cooley, Nazar,
yeah, we
Lane
got a
Hudson.
couple.
You had some pretty good players on that team.
Yeah, those guys were a year older than me. We all played together at the World Juniors, but at the development program, they were actually the year above. So I was more with like the Will Smith, Ryan
Uh-huh.
Leonard, Gabriel. Like I'm very close with those guys. I'll say probably those guys are my best friends. In hockey, very, very close with them. We spent
It's going to be a
lots and
good
lots of
rivalry
time
with
together.
San Jose then. That'll be a good
Yeah,
rivalry,
yeah,
you and Will
yeah, that'll be
Smith.
good. Yeah. I was upset when we played him because he was hurt, so couldn't play him. But yeah, I mean, he was one of the first guys to call me when I got traded. So, we've always been super, super close. Yeah, but I mean, obviously my brother is someone that I'm super close to just through everything. We kind of, go through a lot of this similar experiences, and he's always helped me in every way possible. So he's been the best. And there's a lot of guys. I mean, I think you meet so many guys. Like one of my best friends, from Denver, he was our third string goalie, Jack Caruso. Was just on the phone with him actually a little bit ago, and it's just like I think that's what's so awesome about this game is you meet people that you're going to be friends with forever, and I don't think every sport has that. I don't think every sport has guys that get this close and this connected to each other and that are this similar too as people. So I think that's a really cool and unique thing about this game.
When you name some of the guys that you were at the development team with, when you are watching hockey, like are you trying to watch their games or are you watching, Cale Makar or like are you focusing on guys or are you just kind of whatever's on, I'm happy watching that. Just give me a game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of everything, actually. If one of them are playing, I'll definitely throw that on. If any of my buddies that I know are playing, I'll 100% throw that game on. But especially last year, and back when I was still in school, and Smitty was playing with the Sharks, obviously in his first year, I'd throw on every game he played in. So I think it's just exciting. I think we're all kind of that way where we want to see each other succeed, and we're all competitive with each other and want to be better than each other, but at the same time want to see each other succeed. So just depends. Obviously there's nights where there's 10 hockey games on. There's nights where there's only two. So I'll watch any game. Any team doesn't really matter. So I just kind of like having it on and seeing what's going on.
It actually helps those 4 o'clock starts in Vancouver. You're gonna
Done.
you get
It's amazing.
afternoon games. Yeah.
Fast.
It's amazing. It's the best thing. It's the best thing ever.
You
And you don't have to stay up till 10 p.m. to watch the West Coast games.
you don't have to
The
tell me.
best is like the
I had to stay
oh
up and watch the Vegas Golden Knights and the Maple Leafs last night, and
yeah.
it ended at about 20 after 12. I mean, my goodness.
Crazy.
Like it's different for you because you play on Saturdays for the most part, but for us guys that are out west, like games start at 10 o'clock in the morning. They go all the way through the day. Like it's the best setup out here.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. It's nice to know you have games and you don't have to watch them so late. You can kind of enjoy your afternoon and throw on a
Yeah.
game.
Hey, Landon mentioned Cale Makar's name. Guys have compared your style to his. I'm assuming in your time in Denver that you would try to sneak out to a weekday game at
Oh yeah,
Ball Arena to watch the Avs play.
yeah. I saw tons of games of the Avs. I mean, I think that was the cool part is being 10 minutes away from Ball Arena. So I mean, it was awesome. I got to see obviously Makar a ton and see him live and just the things he can do. I mean, it's unbelievable. I think that's if you're not striving to be that, then you're a fool, right? So I think that's obviously someone I obviously want to try and become like. Obviously, he's in his own category, but like I said, I think I'd be a fool if I wasn't, trying my hardest to try and become someone like that.
If
Who's your
you
favorite player?
In the NHL, like right
Yeah,
now,
yeah. Or I mean, when you were a kid,
it
when
could
you
be
were
a junior player, it could be a
yeah,
college guy
yeah,
if that's who your
yeah,
favorite player
yeah,
is.
yeah.
man, I don't know. I think my favorite player when I was younger was Zdeno Chara. I know it sounds crazy, but I don't know what it was. I was just the biggest fan of him. I loved Alexander Semin. I've always worn 28.
Hmm.
So I always wore that
Alexander
because
Semin.
yeah,
Now, where would that come from?
I don't know. I really don't know. Like I think these are just guys that when I, just grew up watching hockey, I just enjoyed watching them play.
Talk about two very different
Different
players.
players, yeah. Completely. But
And then
I
on
I
top of
agree.
it, like for how you play as well,
Yeah.
right? Like it's not like you're taking out a ton out of Chara's playbook.
No, no, I don't think I'm taking really anything out of his
You don't
playbook.
quite have the reach.
No, or the shot, or the size, or the hitting ability. But yeah, I don't know. I like I watched so many guys. I mean, I couldn't say. I've always obviously been a huge fan of Crosby. I think he was the one player we've played this year where, when he stepped on the ice, I kind of looked at him like he was in a video game. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
God, it's Crosby. So I think that was the first time I've actually froze like in a game, like when someone skated like on the ice. Obviously not during the game, but just when you're sitting on the bench and he skates by your bench, or even during warmups or something, you're like, oh my God.
Was that kind of everyone always talks about like the welcome to the NHL moment, was seeing him and knowing you're like, I'm actually playing in the same game? Would that have been it, or was it something else? Well, I guess you
Uh,
played playoffs last year.
yeah,
It
I would
had to be
probably say the
something.
playoffs last year. I think seeing Eichel,
Oh,
uh, game one of the playoffs last year was definitely a big, welcome to the NHL moment. I think even just like skating and warm-ups, it just felt different. Like it was is the weirdest feeling where you're just like you're looking across and everyone, I mean, they have a big team obviously, but everyone looks so much bigger and faster and stronger, which they are, but it just you could really, really feel that. And I mean, even just watching how Eichel played, it was unbelievable. And I mean, I think just even and this isn't even like on the ice, but just seeing how guys, handled themselves in the room and away from the rink and taking care of their bodies and seeing how, banged up they were going into game one and what they
right.
had to do just to get through that series. It says a lot about, what you have to do to win a Stanley Cup. So I think it was really nice for me to kind of get a taste of that and experience it a little bit.
Actually, how hard was that? Because after your college season ended, you ended up joining the Wild, and then all of a sudden you're playing power play minutes. I mean, and
Yeah, it
and
was.
and you're across the way from guys who have been there all year, saying, "Who the heck is this Zeev guy?"
Yeah, yeah, no, it was crazy. I mean, I would say like the guys in Minnesota were so great to me. I don't think I would have been able to kind of compose myself and stay confident if it wasn't for them. I mean, they opened me, they let me in with arms wide open and made me feel so comfortable right away. And I think that made it a lot easier to do that and kind of gave me confidence to believe in myself and do my thing. I think the hardest part was obviously the game's quicker. It's the playoffs. Everything's so tight. There's, no one really makes mistakes in those games. If there's very little space or room to make anything happen. And, if you do make a mistake, it's going to be capitalized on. So, I think the hard part too is also adjusting to a different role. I always played last 2 years. I was playing, 25 plus minutes a night and playing every situation. And then you go and you're playing, 12, 13 minutes, but then you got to get on the power play and it's hard,
Yeah.
maybe you don't have a shift for 6 or 7 minutes. And then you got to go play on the power play. So, I think that was difficult for sure, trying to keep your mind and your body and yourself, still, focused in the game, not overthinking about, what's going to happen out there. I think when you're playing a lot of minutes, like this is the way I view it, and I've been on both sides now, is like when you're playing a lot, you don't know it, you don't think about anything. You're just thinking about your next shift, whether or not you make a mistake, you make a great play. You're not thinking. You're just playing off instincts. You're making reads. You're always thinking about the next play. When you're playing, 12, 13, 14 minutes, you can get yourself on the bench for 5 minutes and you're just thinking about the next play. And then you're just like, oh, am I gonna make a mistake or am I gonna you're thinking about what you're gonna do instead of just going out there and playing. And that gets, that's never good when you start overthinking. So I think that was definitely a challenging part for me was trying to um, make an impact with just, little time. And obviously just for me, the biggest thing was just filling a role for them. I think they're obviously we're a great team this year and a great team last year going into the playoffs. And for me, it was just coming in and doing whatever I can to help them, win games. So it was challenging, but like I said, it was a great experience for me. It was great to be on a team like that, a part of guys like that. And obviously I got to meet a guy like Marc-Andre Fleury, and
Hmm.
it was really cool. It was a really, really cool experience. It was overall a great experience, and I'm very grateful that I got to do that.
So I kind of brought it up earlier, but like I am curious, in the last 2 calendar years, you won a national championship, 2 World Junior Championships, a World Championship in the men's for gold as well. Then you play the 4 playoff games. You get traded this year. Like there has been, I'm forgetting stuff off the top of my head. Like there has been a lot that's happened in your life, a lot of change, a lot of, exciting things, but a lot to deal with. Have you felt that at all, or are you just kind of like you're on a roller coaster throwing your hands up and just having fun with it all?
Yeah, I think that's kind of it. I mean, I don't think I've ever thought about anything too seriously. I think the stretch where we won U18s, and then we won the World Juniors, and then the national championship, and it was all, within like, 10, 11 months. People were like, "Oh, like, do you think about it? Do you understand what's going on?" I'm like, I think I really just try to stay present and live in the moment. You're obviously very grateful for those things, and I've been very, very lucky and fortunate to be a part of those teams, and be a piece of that. And yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's just having fun with it. I think there's always going to be ups, there's always going to be downs, and it's just trying to have fun with it, see the positive in everything. Um, I think that's something my parents always told me too. It's like there's gonna be negative things that happen in your life, and it's your job to find the positive within it. So I think that's what I always try to do, and just have fun. I mean, I always kind of take a step back, and I don't know if that's from playing in California or not, or just the way I grew up, but it's like when things are going, tough or whatever it is, I always try to take a step back and think about what I have. I think sometimes as people too, we just, think about things we don't have or things we want and need and whatever. And I think for me, sometimes just take a step back and look at my life and look where I am, and I'm pretty happy with where I am in my life. And obviously you're always reaching for more, and you're never satisfied, but I think it's important to also remember that you're doing a lot of things that when you were 12 years old, if you were looking at yourself now, you'd be so proud of yourself. So um, I think that's something to always remember, and especially when things aren't going easy. So I think that's something I've always had in the back of my mind.
Have your parents been to Vancouver to watch you play yet?
My mom was here. She helped me move like my stuff from Minnesota here, and she spent like a week out here with me, so that was really, really nice. But my dad hasn't made it out yet, but I'm sure he will.
Those are all the key times. Having your mom and dad there to watch you play hockey. That,
Yeah, it
by
is.
the way, that never changes from the time you're 8 years old, right?
Yeah, it's a great feeling. I think, especially for my parents. I mean, I think they sacrificed. Obviously, everyone's parents usually do, but they sacrificed a lot for us for not even knowing what this sport is or what the journey is going to be, and it's just really special for them to be in the crowd. And my mom and dad were both there when I scored my first goal. They obviously were both there for the first game, and those are very I think special moments in your career, and very happy that I got to celebrate that with my parents.
So I'm just curious. When you convinced them and your brothers convinced them to play the game, have your parents become hockey experts now too? I mean, are they? Is there advice coming from your dad?
Not my dad. My dad is more of a laid back. My dad just cares if we're having fun. He's not the biggest. He doesn't, still doesn't know too much about it. He just loves that we're having fun. To him it's never been about making the NHL or anything. He just likes seeing us smile and enjoying what we're doing, and he still sees that with us. So that's what he's happy about. My mom's definitely a little bit more of a she's a deeper thought into it. I think once we got a little bit older, I think when we were, once we started getting to Shattuck, even before that a little bit, she started to kind of get the hang of it and understand what was going on. And credit to her, actually, she definitely knows what she definitely knows her hockey now. And especially then, I think without her, she was leading us in the right direction, trusting people that she had no idea who they were, and I think that's just her having a good gut and good instincts on um, knowing people and trying to trust them. I mean, she had people come up to them going, "Hey, you should move to the Junior Kings. Hey, you should come to Shattuck St. Mary's," and it was on her to either trust them or not trust them on if they were, good people and going to help us out. So, yeah, definitely a lot of credit to her for being able to do that with no knowledge in this game.
Well, that's I tell you what, Zeev, it's gone quick. This is the longest interview we've done with a player, so it's just it's been good to know. By the way, what's your cheat food when you're walking this? Are you a burger guy? Are you Canadian? You have a
Uh,
chance to get a donair or things like that, you know. So
I just had an ice cap though for the first time a couple weeks ago,
wow.
and that's not my cheat meal, but just saying that was unbelievable.
Yeah,
Well,
you got to
maybe Tim
try it with
Hortons
the
will give you
chocolate milk.
maybe Tim's will give you an endorsement or something. You know, you never know.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But yeah, I don't know. I think it's more when I'm home, like In-N-Out Burger.
Oh yeah,
Oh, the
well, oh, of
best.
course, of
It's
course.
I mean, it's something where it's like it's the first meal I get when I get home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it all. I get it all. I get the fries with the cheese and the onions on it with the burger's got everything on it and all the sauces and the milkshake. So
Just here's the deal. Here's the deal. No ketchup on the hot dog, please.
I
No
I
ketchup
just
on the hot dog.
I don't think I can eat a hot dog plain. And
Hey,
No,
John,
no,
if
no. With mustard, you have to have a little bit of
I
mustard.
don't really like mustard that much.
you're
Wow.
really painting him into a corner here. He doesn't like mustard, John.
Oh well. I tell you what,
Hey, if you
it's an
have an issue
acquired
with
taste.
It is. It
if you
is.
have an issue with him putting ketchup on that, since he brought up In-N-Out, I take the milkshake, take that lid right off, dip the
It's the
burger into it.
fries. The
No,
burger?
fries amazing. Burger even better. If
Oh,
you're gonna be a
see,
slob, just go
Oh
right
my
for it.
God. I gotta try
here.
that. I've never
So
done that.
so now it's the old guy and the young guy rolling their eyes at the guy in the middle. That's what this is. Hey, Zeev, thanks for this.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, guys.
That's great. That's Zeev Buium, Vancouver Canucks. Lan and I will be back after this.
All right, listen up. Today I want to talk about giving 110%. Giving 100% means giving everything you got. Giving 110% means giving 10% more than is humanly possible. If we're going to win as a team, we need 100% of you guys giving 110% 100% of the time. If only 50% of you guys give 110% and 50% of you guys give 100%, I guarantee you 100%, we'd only win 50% of our games. Suppose 75% of the 110% gave only 50%, and 50% of the 100% gave 25%, and 75% of the 110% were not feeling 100%, then we'd be in a heap of trouble. That's why we need 100% of you guys giving 110% 100% of the time. Okay. Let's go out and play some hockey.
Well, I'll tell you what, Landon. The Canucks got a. I'm not sure about the hockey player yet, although it's pointing to the positive. But they got an unbelievable person in the
Yeah.
trade. That was as fun a podcast as we've done in this series, and at the same time, I think you got a real indication of a guy that's got his head screwed on properly.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I pulled out three things out of that interview. He's
That well,
anti-mustard.
other than the ketchup.
He's anti-mustard. He loves burgers, and he really enjoyed his first ice cap. Those were the three main pickups I got out of that.
Hey, listen, if you can learn a little bit about people's eating habits in any podcast, you're doing okay.
There
That's
you go. But no, you're right. Like he's 20 years old and he comes on here and he's never met you. I've quickly met him once. They've been on the road so much, so I haven't been in the room very much. And comes on here and man, like he can talk. He gives great answers. You can tell that he enjoys this side of it
yep.
and enjoys the conversation. And And that's great. You're playing in a Canadian market, and to be able to handle the media and do it with a smile and be engaged, like that's what this fan base wants. They want guys that are engaged, and he was definitely that.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you look at what the future is like for him, and the challenge that the coaching staff has of they got two 20-year-olds on the back end.
Yeah.
When you think of Buium and Villander, I mean, potentially it could be great for the next 5 or 6 years, but it's still a work in progress, isn't it? And
Yeah.
that's the ebbs and flows of what the hockey team is trying to do. You want to give these young guys an opportunity to play the game. You don't want them to blow up and make too many mistakes. You want them to learn from their mistakes. But two foundational defensemen in Villander and Buium could go a long way for this hockey club.
For sure. Like you're looking at what could be the staple of your defense for 10 years. And, like that's something to get excited about. And, as much as again, the results aren't there for the Canucks
No.
and you're not expecting them to be around the corner either. But you keep watching games and you're watching the young guys and you're seeing them take steps. Every once in a while, you'll see one of the young guys make a play that you've seen them, mess up in the past. Whether call it one of the forwards and they're getting a puck from the D and they're in the D zone and they have a D pinching down on them. And they've turned that puck over a few times. Well, then you watch the next game, and all of a sudden, like within a 2 day period with working with the coaches or whatever, he now protects it and makes a good poise play, and they get out of the zone. It's such a simple thing, but you're like, that kid's growing already. He's figuring it out. Like that's where the excitement of watching comes from.
Well, we're going to get a good example, and people in Vancouver are going to get a good chance to look up close and personal when you consider that between now and the end of the month, I think there's 8 home games.
Yes, there is.
And so now they're not easy. Edmonton, the
Basically
Islanders,
every
Washington,
second day too.
yeah, but there are teams that are striving for a lot more greatness at this point than has been expected. And when you got Edmonton coming to town, the Islanders, Washington, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, San Jose, Will Smith's going to hopefully be playing against his old pal Buium, Anaheim, and then the evil empire of the Toronto Maple Leafs. It will be an interesting measure of where this team is right now, particularly if Rutherford and Alvin have their way and start moving some players out a lot sooner than later before the Olympic break in the first week in February.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, like it's not an easy lineup, but at this point it doesn't matter who they're playing against, right?
It's
You
about the
know,
Vancouver Canucks,
it's
isn't it?
about the Canucks, it's about the individuals involved in it and how they're progressing and really all you can look for past the young guys progressing is effort.
Right.
Effort, stay in the game, play, make it hard, don't give up easy offense, and past that, you see where the chips fall.
Thanks for this, Landon. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you as well.
Thanks for listening and watching this edition of 100% Canucks.